Aloha, beautiful golden galactic celestial family on the planet. Bliss here doing a little love stream. Super excited to share something. I was just looking through my emails and I got a text message this morning from this epic being named Brandon Thomas. And Brandon and I were introduced through another epic being named Stuart Pierce. So I'll just share a few things about all of this because it's just so epic that our collaboration, our transmission, our chat, our drop-in together with Brandon that occurred on the full moon in March 17th. The night that the Holi festival starts in India. It's the last full moon of the year in the traditional calendar in India. And so the Holi festival is when they throw all the bright colors on each other and celebrate the overcoming of good over evil. And that was the night that Brandon and I did our pre-recorded interview together. And so I'll go back a little bit. The first thing I want to say in preface is that everybody on the planet has a story, and an epic story. It's called the hero's journey because that's what everyone has been on, is the hero's journey. And it's so timely that it would be connected to you know, this theme of overcoming good versus, or good overcoming evil, that whole journey of good and evil and the belief in good and evil and dark and light and all of that, and that it's really a journey about learning to merge the polarities within us. And so as an oracle, I'm so joy-filled at the absolute precision of the divine plan. The oracle has a capacity to track with precision what is on the cutting edge or the exact shape of the design, so to speak, and translates that to the collective so that the collective can find their place in it all. Each individual can find their place in it all. And as I say, we've really been walking this hero's journey, the unification of the heart and the mind, and, you know, the journey of the magnificence of the human heart to overcome the challenges and complexities of unifying those opposites within us that are in the eating of the apple of knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil, which was really just about the belief that there is good and evil, and going on that journey inside of ourselves. And so, oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled at this precision. Okay, so connecting a few more dots on my journey, and like I say, I really want to emphasize that every single being has an incredible, magnificent story, a magnificent journey that they've walked. And one of my great friends, Dave Zabosky, who's an incredible artist, he does many beautiful things in the world, and one of them is called Art Temple. And he and his group of artists always have Art Temple at the Lucidity Festival, which just completed yesterday, their Regeneration Earth Festival. And so Dave sets up the Art Temple every year at Lucidity. And one year I was coming back from one of my very long sojourns around the planet as a grid worker, walking the grids and working the grids and ley lines, because that was part of my personal journey through the tree of knowledge. And my dear friend One Love Metatron said to me, hey, we're going to put you in one of the Lucid University courses, so come early to the festival. And so he gave me the options of which ones to consider, and I wanted to do the lucid dreaming one. And so when I got to the festival, he's like, okay, you're in Dave's art temple. And I was like, Dave's art temple? I want to do the lucid dreaming one. And he's like, no, you and Dave have to meet. So Dave comes walking along in his big famous coat that he's famous for wearing. And it was nighttime, and One Love said, oh, here he is right now. Perfect timing. All right, Dave, this is Unity. Unity, this is Dave. And he took off, and I said, well, apparently I'm in your Lucid University course this week, and maybe you want to tell me about it. And Dave said, yeah, it's all about the hero's journey. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds interesting. And he started to talk about, you know, the importance of the steps, understanding the steps of the hero's journey. And when we understand the steps of the hero's journey, each one of us can understand our own journey. We can make sense of our own journey. And so he went through all the steps, and then he said the final step is the celebration. And when he said it, I just started crying. And he was like, it's the most important part. If you walk the hero's journey, you have to have the celebration. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is why my journey has felt so long, because I never take time out to celebrate the steps, the mini celebrations along the way. And it had just felt like such an arduous and long journey on the planet that I had walked. And I was like super exhausted at that point. I felt like it was a journey of huge sacrifice for the collective. And, you know, I went through that so many times in my own personal journey, because it was such a unique walk, being an oracle, being able to read what's way out there beyond what the collective understands, and to speak a language of rhymes and riddles, and you know, a language that doesn't make sense to the mental consciousness of the duality mind. The transmission of the oracle is really designed to confuse the mind so that the mind can dissolve. It can overload its circuitry through listening to the oracle, and then this great transformation occurs where whoever is in the presence of the transmission is liberated from the dualistic mind. So anyways, my journey felt long, arduous, tiring, exhausting, and also was filled with like a 13-part movie full of mystical, miraculous experiences that, when shared, sound so mystical they sound unbelievable, which is why I photograph so much of my journey, because the photographs hold the content of the mysticism of the journey. And when one sees the pictures, they go, wow, like these pictures are pretty profound. So, and we're doing super cool things with those images, because from a lot of my grid ceremonies and experiences on the planet, I've taken my photographs and I've merged them into art, and that art is now going into a whole line of clothing and yoga mats and just all kinds of things. And it's really remarkable for me to just witness it happening, knowing that the art holds the entire code of the culmination of the hero's journey, which is the celebration. And so it's like there's holographic coding in the art and all of the clothes that we are making with the pod, and just all kinds of creations happening right now that we will be launching. And so again, I'm just kind of musing about all the pieces that are coming together on this Jupiter Neptune conjunction today, and celebrating this inside of myself and for all life as a reflection of the precision of the divine plan that always held us, regardless of how far we strayed off the path. And it all becomes so clear. And this Jupiter Neptune conjunction is kind of considered to be like, you know, a destiny moment. It's like when all of our destiny comes together, and that's what's been happening in our lives piece by piece, is our destiny is becoming more and more significant. And as the ego dissolves away, that's the only thing that interfered with our celebration and our destiny coming to fruition, which is the culmination of the journey. And that's why we're, you know, entering this great renaissance of art and creativity and celebration, because we've synthesized all of the experiences that we have had on the hero's journey. And as they synthesize within us, we have these epiphanies, we have these great revelations of consciousness within ourselves, and our entire lives transform. And we see what has already been here before us, which is our true pure source consciousness, our pure potential, that we are completely free and sovereign beings of creation, and that we created it all. So if this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. There's a little share button down there right now. And so back to my story about Dave Zabosky and the art temple. So I participated with Dave and the art temple crew, who are just these epic beings. And it gave me the opportunity to just contemplate how important taking time out, taking spaciousness out to celebrate the journey. And it doesn't matter whose journey it's been or the details of the individual life. It's significant that we've all been on some version of the hero's journey. That's the most important thing to know. No one's story is more important than another. And so we have the capacity now through art and celebration to celebrate it all. And we're moving into an a-causal experience of life, which means we're no longer living in karma and cause and effect. So now we can just play out roles we choose to play, choose experiences we choose to have. And we're no longer bound by the karma of cause and effect, because we've graduated our consciousness into unity consciousness. We graduated out of the fourth world that the Hopi told us was created to resolve our miscreations from our misunderstandings of cosmic principles. So this is where we are now. So on my journey, in the fictional fiction, I like to call it, I had a very close relationship with Princess Diana, who came to me. Leo saying hi. Princess Diana, who came to me on my journey in March of 2016 and started guiding me to assist massively in the awakening of human consciousness and to help remove obstacles that were placed in the way inside of the matrix to slow that process down. So I had this very close relationship with Princess Diana, who started downloading to me all of her codes from beyond the fictional fiction realms and showing me step by step what she knew about what was happening inside of the systems and how to remove those obstacles for all to ascend, for our entire human family to be liberated from the illusion of separation, the illusion of good and evil, and to integrate those codes back within ourselves. So Diana and I had this close relationship. We still do, which I feel like I've really integrated all of those codes. So it's just really part of my consciousness. And so I've spoken about the relationship with Diana, many miracles in time. And I was contacted by a man named Stuart Pierce, who was a very close friend of Diana's in the last few years of her life. And he first contacted me in June of 2021, but none of his messages got to me. And so I was guided to start doing transmissions in the middle of February. And the first one I called the Mary Magdalene transmission. And it's down there somewhere in the notes. I've like linked a whole series of Lovestreams that kind of go one after another that might be helpful for folks who might just be tuning in and be curious to put some pieces together for themselves. And so I did the Mary Magdalene transmission probably the middle of February, and Stuart Pierce, the friend of Diana's, commented on the transmission itself. And he said, would you be on my show? And I said, sure. And he said, well, will you send me your email? And I said, yes. So I went to send him a messenger message, only to discover that he had been trying to contact me for almost a year. And so that started our incredible journey together, and we've had some really divinely beautiful conversations and communion, putting a lot more pieces together. And then Stuart said to me, you have to meet Brandon Thomas. You two will love each other. And so we did. We had this great telephone conversation one day, probably for 2 or 3 hours. And then Brandon said, you have got to be on my show, Expanding Reality. And so I said, okay, well, there's I'm feeling we need to do this interview on Thursday. And he said, just know that it's a pre-record. And I said, yeah, Thursday is the day we need to do this show. And I didn't know that it was the full moon. And I didn't know it was the Holy Festival and the full moon in Virgo and all of these pieces that align very strongly with the Oracle's chart. So Brandon and I did the interview together on that night, and the last part of the interview, I could tell that there was a massive transposition in consciousness. And what that means is it's like even beyond cosmic leaps. It's like entirely new levels of awareness open up. And I could tell in the last few moments of our conversation together that that had happened, and that a massive clearing was coming to the collective consciousness. So that was that, with a great interview with Brandon. And I got a text from him today saying, can you send me your bio information, because I'm doing the final edits on our interview, our transmission together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you posting it today? It's this incredible conjunction. And it hasn't happened for 66 years. I can't remember what it is right now. But every time this conjunction happens, it is the announcement, it is the energetic beginning of something miraculous and new in the consciousness. And so that's this day. And it seems perfect that it would be aligned with Brandon posting this on his Expanding Your Reality site on this day, because this oracular transmission is really always about what's coming, the transformation that is coming. And this conjunction today that astrologers have been talking about for months and months, forever, so to speak, is about our spiritual awakening on this day. And that's what this transmission is all about, our spiritual awakening, the realignment with our divinity, so that we bring our divinity back into the world of form, which occurs through unity, through unification of our polarities within our bodies, our consciousness, our awareness. And so we say this is like the greatest celebration day for all of humanity, for all of creation. And we just launched our online store, the Fabric of Creation.love today. It's in its beginning phases, so it's all happened on this day. And the Fabric of Creation is all about the voice of Sophia. It's about restoring the voice of beauty and grace and love and romance and intimacy and sensuality and all the deliciousness of life is being returned back to us collectively as a collective. And so all the systems and structures that are in existence that will perpetuate or continue are the ones that merge with the Sophia. So it's like this really, it's this sensual, intimate union of the structure, which is masculine, and the deliciousness of life, which is the feminine. It's all coming back together inside of us. And that is the best news ever, because it's like this is where the true yummy and deliciousness of life is returned to all of our experiences in unity and oneness. And it is the unlocking of the superabundance, our pure potential for creation, that is coming back. It's returning to us and to our awareness. So Brandon launched the interview together on his Expanding Reality site, which I put in the description box. And to see that one on his website, I think you have to go and become a member. Just your email and your name to join, which you're going to want to do anyways, because his podcasts are epic. And then he will be posting it on his YouTube page, I think he said tomorrow. And he also has an app for Expanding Reality. And it's been such an epic collaboration with Brandon, and beautiful revelations, confirmations, and mirroring, and all of that really cool stuff. So the veils come off, the ego dissolves, there's no causal effect of karma, cause and effect. Now it's just choosing our life and our roles from the place of creation and creativity, and really choosing that which is delicious inside of ourselves and ourselves, the merging of our masculine and our feminine, and just so much goodness in our lives and our worlds together. So check out the interview with Brandon and I, we, in the description box, Expanding Your Reality. And if you're interested, there's lots of love streams that I've posted as well to follow. And, you know, it's the time to, it's the miracle coordinate to celebrate the hero's journey. It's the celebration, the party is on, human family. And yeah, check out all the links. There's meditations down there that are really helpful and inspiring. And if you want to contribute to these transmissions through PayPal, Venmo, or GoFundMe, there's links for that as well. And I'm just like so happy for us, we human family. the miracle coordinate of romance and love and intimacy and deliciousness and sensuality and all that good stuff is upon us. We love we so much. If this love stream is inspiring, please share it. That's called gifting. And there's Leo. Let's just say hi. And the kisses. And we bliss, we love, we so much. Aloha. Celebration time. Come on. It's a celebration.